So what basically Nmap is, it's a versatile network scanning tool that can identify hosts and services on a computer network. And it can also be used to identify security vulnerabilities on a network. So in this video, we'll discuss the different steps involved in Nmap scanning, target specification, host discovery, port specification, scan order, service enumeration, service version detection, or what we call service enumeration, script scanning, OS detection, and outputs. So here in my virtual box machine or lab, I have Kali Linux and Metasploitable. So I'll make sure that both of them are on the same network. So you can see they're on NAT network. Then we have network. I think we have a lot of videos on YouTube that can show you how to put them on the same network. So they are both on the same network. So I'm going to select both of them. Then I'm going to start them. Then it's going to ask me if I want to start two machines at the same time. Okay, so the first step, we are going to look at the help menu for the Nmap tool. So you're going to type Nmap, then -H, which stands for help. Then we'll be presented by this large menu here. So I'm going to go step by step explaining what each section covers. Then we are going to do each section on the practical. So the first step is target specification. So all these options will help you to specify what type of target you want to scan. Do you want to scan host names? Do you want to scan IP addresses? Do you want to scan the entire network and all that? So then we have host discovery. All these options are used to discover different devices on your network, and different options, they give you different outputs. We are going to look at them. I'm just explaining what each section contains. Then we have scanning techniques. Let's say, for example, you suspect that there is a firewall in your network. You can use these scanning techniques to evade those firewalls and intrusion detection system. Then we have port specification and scan orders. You can specify if you want to scan for a single port, a range of ports, or a particular group of ports. Then we have service version detection, whereby you'll be able to know the services that are running on those different ports. Then we have the scan scripts. So Nmap also has scripts that will enable you to either gain more information or to exploit a particular vulnerability based on the script that you're going to use. Then we have OS detection, whereby you can be able to detect the type of operating system that your target is running on. Then we have timing and performance, whereby you can be able to time your scans. This is very useful, especially when you are working with a network that might have a firewall or an intrusion detection system. We also have options for evading firewalls and intrusion detection system. We are not going to look at that in this video, maybe on a later video. Then we have outputs, that we can save our results on different methods. Yeah, so basically that's it. Then we have some mics here, whereby you can be able to scan for IPv6. Then we have the aggressive scan. Then we have some examples here. I'm going to say Nmap 192.168.3.0/24. Then it's going to scan the entire network. So this is my network IP address. So it's going to scan all the 255 IP addresses that are available. And you can see we have some results here. For now, I only have two devices connected to that network, my Kali machine and the Metasploitable. And you can see I'm able to get some results here. So that is scanning the entire network. Let's jump to host discovery. So you can also perform different types of scan to find different types of devices that are connected to your network. So the first type of scan that I want us to look at is the list scan. So Nmap, let me increase the font a bit. So Nmap-S, then capital L, that's the list scan. So it's going to scan the network for devices that are connected there, and it will only give me a list of devices that are available or that are connected to my network. So that is my IP address for my network. And you can see, okay, it's telling me zeros host up, but me and you, we know that we have some. Okay, most of the time this scan is not usually accurate because you can see we have devices on this network, but it's telling me zero host. So the next type of scan is going to be a ping scan. And to perform that type of scan, we write nmap, then hyphen s, then n. Then we give the IP address of our network, .3.0/24. And it's going to scan the entire network for devices that are available. And you can see this one is more accurate compared to the first one. We have 4 hosts connected, and those are the IP address of those particular hosts. So for this type of scan, it only pings. So if a device responds to that particular ping, it's going to record that device as it's online. Okay, the state is up, and then it's going to list it in our list scan. So the other type of scan that you are going to look at is the never do DNS resolution. So this option is used to disable DNS resolution. So by default, ping scans perform DNS resolutions to determine the host name. So the host name is like the name of the machine or the devices that are connected on the network. So however, in some cases, DNS resolution can slow down the scanning process, and flag can be used to disable it. So it's the N flag that is used to disable it. So you can say nmap, then -n, then you say 192.168.3.0/24, which is the IP address for our network. We have treat all hosts as online, which is a type of scan that skips the host discovery phase. So this option is used to skip the host discovery and treat all hosts as online. So it's not going to wait for the response of devices. It's going to treat those devices as online. And this usually speeds up the process of scanning, especially when you're scanning for multiple devices on different networks. To do this, we are going to say nmap, then -p, then small letter n. Then we give our network. So I needed to speed up this type of scan because it was taking longer. So I added the option for timing. Okay, I said 4. I added the option for timing, 4 seconds. Then I was able to get the results that I wanted here. Then the other type of scan that I want us to look at is the specify custom DNS server. So this option allows you to specify custom DNS server to use for your DNS resolution. So we are going to say nmap -DNS server to be DNS servers. So I can use 1.1.1.1, then 0/ so .3.0/24. Can use any DNS. So that is the Cloudflare DNS. You can also use the Google DNS, which is 8.8.8, and you'll be able to get your results there. The other type of scan that I want us to look at is the trace route scan, which performs a trace route to each host to determine the path between the scanning host and the target host. So for the trace route, you usually use that command to check how many routers are between our machine and the other machine that we are trying to scan. So basically, since we're on a virtual environment, so let me just give the IP address for the Metasploitable. which we saw is 3.5. So 3.5. Then it's going to perform a trace route scan. Then you can see down here we have the trace route results. Okay, so only one hop, meaning there is only one router between our Kali machine and the metasploitable machine. We are going to look at port specification, whereby we specify which ports that we want to scan. So by default, Nmap scans for 1000 most common ports used by various services and applications. So port specification and scan order refers to the process of specifying which ports to scan during network reconnaissance. So Nmap provides several options for port specification and scan order to customize your scans based on your specific needs. So on the help menu, we saw that we can use option P. We can use option P for port specification. So for example, let's say I want to scan for port 80. I'm going to say nmap-p, then port 80. Then I'm going to give the IP address of my metasploitable box. Then it's only going to scan for port 80. So that's what we mean by port specification. So in networking, we usually have a total of 65,535 network ports. So you can tell Nmap to scan that particular range. So you can say nmap-p. Then you can say we want you to start from 0 to 65,535. Make sure that the 0 and the P are joined together. There is no space between them. Then I'm going to give my IP. So 192.168.192. Okay, in fact, let me add another option, option V for verbosity, meaning that you're going to get more information from our scan. So I want to scan all the networking ports that are available. So you're going to see that this type of scan will be different from the other ones that we conducted because we added that -V for more to get more information. You can see it has scanned up to 56,799. So that is the last port. And you can see we have all these services running on different ports. So that's how you scan the entire ports that are available in networking. So let's say, for example, you want to scan for port 1 to port 100. So you're going to say nmap-p. So from port 1 to 100. So it's going to scan for the first port to the port 100. Okay, yeah, you can see the last port is port 8. So we have been able to scan for from the first port to the last port, which is port 8. Then you can also select different ports that you want it to scan. Oh, I have to separate them with a comma. So we'll go back there and separate them with a comma. So it only scanned the port 80 alone. So after separating them with a comma, we should be able to scan, yeah, for all those ports. And you can see we have results for port 21 and port 80. Okay, so that is how to scan a range of ports. You can also exclude the ports that you don't want to be scanned. For example, I can exclude the range from maybe port 100 to 400. So it's going to scan all the port except for ports that are between 100 and 400 ports. So basically, these options that have two hyphens, they are usually called flags. Then I'm going to give the range. Okay, let me say I want to exclude port maybe from port 100 to port 400. Then I'm going to give my IP address. For my metasploitable machine, okay? You can see from 80, it jumped to port 445. In the previous scan, I don't know if we had some ports inside there. Yeah, you can see we had port 101, port 139. So it excluded these two ports. Maybe I can say from port number 10 to 400. Yeah, then you can see we only have these ports listed here. So the port 21 to port 400, they have not been included here. So we don't have port 21, port 22, port 80, and the 100 and 100 and it was 100 and I think that is something 139. Yeah, 139. You can also use a flag for top ports. It's going to scan for particular set of ports. So you can say nmap hyphen, okay, nmap hyphen top underscore ports. You also have that option. Then we are going to say top 100 ports, 192.168.3.5. Yeah, then it's going to scan the top 100 ports. So the service detection feature in Nmap is a powerful tool for identifying the services and versions that are running on the open ports of our target system. In all these scans that we have scanned, we have been able to see this section where we have services and we got a list of services. Now I want us to maybe get more information about the services that are running on those different ports. So to do a basic service version detection, you're going to say nmap, then hyphen s, small letter s, then capital V. The small letter V is for verbosity, but the capital V is for the version, service version. Then you are going to say 192.168.3.5. Yeah, then you can see we have been able to get more information about the services and versions that are running on each and every port that has been listed on our scan. Then we can also perform an OS detection using the -O to determine which operating system is running on our machine. So nmap capital O, then 192.168.3.5 to get the OS version of the machine that we are running. Down here you can see we have device type, general purpose, then running Linux 2.6.x, then OS CPE, we have the Linux kernel 2.6. Yeah, basically that's the results we are getting. Then you can also perform an aggressive OS detection. So this command will scan the IP address and guess the operating system more aggressively. This option is useful when the target system operating system is hidden. So this option is useful when the target system operating system is hidden. For example, Windows machine usually hide the type of that we call it OS fingerprint. But for this one, we are going to scan the Metasploitable. I know it has given us the OS version, but this is to just to test that flag. Okay, we still get the same results. We also have the aggressive scan or advanced OS detection, which usually have the capital A. So nmap, then hyphen, then capital A. Then you give, okay, let me add V for verbosity. You can add as many V as you want. I'm going to add 2 Vs. Here you can see it has been able to do enumeration. You can see we have a lot of information because we run the aggressive scan. So for the aggressive scan or the advanced scan, it usually gives us more information and it runs something we call a default script. We're going to look at Nmap scripts in the next part, whereby we have those scripts that will help us to gain all this information, which is very useful when you are doing reconnaissance and you are going to get a lot of information based on those scripts. For example, you can see here we have a certificate because of that script that it ran using the aggressive scan. Then we have the OS fingerprinting here. So it still detects it as a Linux machine. Yeah. So basically that is the address scan. So I'm going to show you how to save your results. So you can save your results in 4 different formats. So if I go back to Nmap-H, down here we have output options. So we have the ON, which is the normal output, like the ones that we are getting here on our terminal. So this is the output. This is the normal output. Then we usually have the script kiddie output. We usually have the script kiddie output, which use the -os. And then we have the XML output, which saves in an XML format. Then we have the OG, which stands for grepable format. Then we have the OA, which saves in all those formats. That's the option that I'm going to use so that we can see all these formats and how they look like. So I'll just repeat the above scan, the aggressive scan. But for this time, I'm going to remove the -v because I don't want all that information. Then I'm going to say -o, then capital A for output. Then I'm going to say metasploitable 2, which will be the name. Then it's going to save in different formats. So the -OA option can be used to save the results in all 3 major formats: normal, XML, and grepable format. I don't know if it saves in the script kiddie format. Then this can be useful if you want to have multiple copies of the results in different formats, or if you want to compare the results from different formats. Okay, so I can see my scan is complete. So if I ls, yeah, you can see all these 3 formats. Maybe I can ask for the script kiddie format so that you can also see how it looks like. So for the script kiddie, it was OS. Yeah, OS. So let's run the script kiddie format. Then we can see the difference between the 4 files or the 4 outputs. Okay, so the results are here. So I'm going to ls. Yeah, then you can see all the 4 formats. So we have already seen the normal output. I'm going to start with this format. So I'm going to say nano, then that. Yeah, so you can see this is the grepable format. Or you can just cut. You're going to see the grepable format. Then let's look at the, I think this is the script kiddie format. Okay, so I'm going to cut exploitable 2. And this is how the script kiddie format looks like. You can see that format. So if you like that, you can use that option. Then we have the XML format. So cut. Then you can see the XML format. So if you want to display it in a web application, you can be able to use the XML format, and it will display in a neat format. Then this one was our normal output. So I'm going to say Nmap. Yeah, then you can see it's the same as the ones that we are getting on our results. Yeah, so basically that's the Nmap. In the next section, we are going to look at scripts so that we can explore different types of scripts. Yeah, so that's all for today. We'll see you in the next section.